Alright everyone, welcome back. Going to be breaking down Contender Series. I've never broke down a card from the Contender Series, but I think I have a good read in this card, so I'm going to break this one down. But just recapping UFC 252, sort of weird night. A few hours before the event started, Sky Bet restricted my account, and I used Sky Bet as one of my main live betting sites during the fights, so it was just sort of just a fucking bad omen for the night, just from that alone. But so I had to look for other bookies to use and stuff, and it was just annoying, you know. We went 1 and 2 on live bets. We had DC and Stipe over 2.5 rounds, 1.5 units. We had 2 units on TJ Brown, which is a bad bet, never betting him again. And then the third bet, I think it was unlucky, was O'Malley Ver to go over 2.5 rounds, and that to me would have went over 2.5 rounds if it wasn't for the freak injury, but that's hindsight. You know, just feel like got unlucky here. Live bets, we went 2 and 2. Personally, I went 3 and 2, which is sort of good, but overall, about -4 units on the night, which is a bit annoying, but you know, it happens. Gonna look to bounce back with Contender Series, so I'll just break this card down. So Kevin Saylor versus Kenny Cross. Kevin Saylor on the Contender Series before, he won that fight by decision, dominated Lawrence on the ground. Weighed in at 152 pounds for that fight when it was a featherweight fight, so he's moved up since that fight. Now he fights at lightweight. He's a thick guy, 5'9", but he's very thick, and he, to me, is very, very good grappler, MMA grappler. He looks to take fights to the ground, and he usually gets them to the ground. He trains at ATT, so you know he's well trained in the wrestling jiu-jitsu department. You can just see it in his fights. Whereas Kenny Cross, you watch his fights, and he is a guy that struggles off his back. He has 3 submission losses on his record, and in some of the wins he's won, he's get took down and dominated on the ground, and then to come back and finish them, like in the Jonas Flock fight. If you go and watch that fight, but you know, Kevin Saylor knows what to do in this fight. He will take a fight to the ground where he's just going to have a big advantage, and I think he'll dominate the bigger man on the ground. So if we just look at the odds of this fight, I just want in the comments, if you know how me as a UK player in the north of Ireland, how I can use Bet Online while, you know, being from the UK, because I've had an account on there for about 2 years now, but I can't deposit anymore because they don't take UK players. But see, every Monday I'm missing openers for Contender Series, which is so annoying, because Saylor's a guy I looked up at, you know, when the lines opened, and he was plus 120, and now he's -180. So as I say, if you know how I can get around that in the comments, just drop a comment and tell me. I've asked a few other guys, you know, how to do it, but they haven't told me, or they won't tell me for whatever reason. But yeah, it's so annoying. So if you know how to, just let me know. But as I say, I like Kevin Saylor by sub in this one. So next fight, Josh Parisian versus Chad Johnson. Josh Parisian, who's fought on Tough, fought in the LFA, fought in the Contender Series before, where he knocked out Greg Rebello in 1 round. Spin a back fist, it was very nice. But he didn't get a contract, a UFC contract after that fight. He went on the Ultimate Fighter and got dominated by Michel Batista on the ground. And if you watch all of his losses, he struggles big time on the ground. he relies on his size to prevent a lot of fighters from getting him to the ground. He's a 6'4" heavyweight who weighs in at 265, so he has to cut down a heavyweight. So he's a big guy, but you know, his grappling defense is his size. He didn't really have, you know, good sprawl or anything. Because if you watch a Brett Martin fight, the Batista fight, the Tony Lopez fight, he just gets took down very easily and dominated on the ground. And this is where Chad Johnson, to me, as a, you know, very athletic guy, he succeeds. He gets fighters down, works his ground and pound. He's devastating with it. Once he gets fighters down, he's just ruthless with ground and pound. Just, you know, very heavy ground and pound. And I do think he will do it in this fight. He fights at a Rufus sport. I've listened to a few interviews. They go into fights with game plans, and that to me is Chad Johnson's game plan in this fight. He's going to take Parisian down. I'd be surprised if he doesn't, because he probably is at a stand-up disadvantage. Even though Parisian isn't the most technical heavyweight, you know, Chad Johnson, I think he will be at a slight stand-up disadvantage in this fight. But if you watch the Washington loss from Chad Johnson, it was a weird one because he stays on the feet with Washington and breaks his hand on Washington's head, and then he looks down at his wrist and backs away because he knew it was fucked, and then he just gets knocked out with a big left hook from Washington. So it's hard to read too much into that fight, you know, because he hurt his wrist big time. But you know, as I say, I do think he looks to get this fight to the ground. I do think he takes Parisian down, whose takedown defense isn't very reliable, and I think he grounds him for the finish. So we've got Chad Johnson by TKO there, and he is a plus 140 favourite. Underdog. So there's good underdog for this card. Chad Johnson. So third fight, Orion Koch versus Matt Dixon. So Matt Dixon was a guy who I taped before the line came out for this fight. I taped actually all fights before the line came out, and I really wanted to see what price Dixon would be, because I thought he would be a good bet, but he opened up as minus 210 favourite and has dropped to 275. So as I say, I can't get on these openers. That's fucking annoying. Then I have to pay a bigger price. So if there's any way, as I say, for me to get around that, just let me know. But going back to this fight, Matt Dixon, good all-round fighter, to be honest. He has good wrestling, and he is a more accomplished striker than Koch, who is sort of raw on the feet. He does have a lot of power, but he's kind of, you know, green on the feet. You know, he is a grappler by trade. He fights out of Team Alpha Male and Lost Boys Jiu Jitsu, so he looks to get fights to the ground. I just don't know, and I don't think he will be able to get Dixon down, who very good takedown defense, and a good anti-wrestler. And whenever he's hurt, again the Justin Patterson fight, he relies on his wrestling and actually takes other people down. So he's probably the most all-rounded fighter on the whole card, and I can see him beating Koch and getting a UFC contract, because I actually do think for his age, 24, he is UFC caliber fighter. Koch will be the slightly bigger fighter. He walks around at like 195, and he's had catch weights at 185 and stuff, so he's a big boy, like. So he will have a size advantage here, but I just think skill for skill, Dixon, much better fighter, and I think he'll outwork Koch for the decision win on the feet. So, co-main event, Shan versus Hillary Rose. You know, sometimes it's good to cap these low-level MMA fights because you only have to see a certain amount of fights before you can conclude what way it's going to go. I watched, I think, three or four of Hillary Rose's fights, and I just like, Jesus, she is not good. If you watch the Rosa Acevedo fight, she was fighting a 4-3 fighter and was getting took down, was getting out grappled, was taking Rosa down sometimes, and then ending up getting swept and stuff. You know, Hillary Rose isn't that good, to be honest. She, you know, I just don't know what she's good at, really. Definitely not grappling anyway, on her stand-up. It's a mixed bag, to be honest. But, you know, definitely Shan Baez will have the advantage on the feet, and I think on the ground as well. If you watch Baez fight, she's very fluid on the feet. You know, you can tell she's well trained, very light on her feet, in and out, and just to be honest, she looks like the more just more of an actual fighter than Hillary Rose. You know, Baez definitely has the higher ceiling here, and just is a better overall fighter, to be honest. She's also faced, I would say, the higher level competition. You know, Baez has fought in LFA. Rose has only fought in CES against Cans mostly. One fighter, which was Rosa, had a winning record against Rose. So, you know, that just tells you a lot there. But I'll say I think Baez is just a better fighter. She's fought Vanessa Diamopoulos, who fought last week. She's also fought Jillian Robertson way back in 2015. You know, Jillian Robertson from UFC. So she's been at this MMA stuff for a while now. Yeah, I just think she's a better overall fighter than Hillary Rose, and that's why she's a big favourite here. She opened at minus 225. She's steamed down to minus 270 now. I can see why, to be honest, but you know, it is low level MMA. Low level women's MMA, so the juice isn't worth the squeeze there. Because I tend to stay away from low level MMA because you just can't really predict what's going to happen. But I've got Baez there, and I think she actually no, I don't actually. Most of Baez's wins are by decision, so I'll go with Baez by decision there. Let me just see the odds for it. Surely it's plus money. Baez by decision minus 115. Nah, thought it would be plus money, but you know, I do like Baez to win there, sort of. Alright, so main event, Victor Reyna versus Koch. This is probably the, don't know how to word this, but the least, don't know what way to say, like the least skilled or hyped up main event on the Contender Series this season so far. You know, Victor Reyna, who's he's a known guy, especially in the Combate scene, and fought in Contender Series against Miguel Baeza before. But Koch, there's only one pro fight of his that you can actually watch. No other one of them you can find on tape. So you can only watch one of them, and watch a few of his amateur fights as well. He's a very powerful striker, so he is it's weird because he's the brother of Orion, Koch, obviously on this card as well, who is also a welterweight. And his brother said he's the hardest hitting guy that he sparred with. So he is a powerful striker. I noticed that when I watched tape, and I'm not sure what fight was it. I think it was the McCowan fight here I seen. He just knocks him out in 8 seconds. Just with a combo on the feet. But it's weird because Orion Koch, the wrestler, and Lewis Koch, the striker, is sort of what I gathered. Obviously they both train at Alpha Male and Lost Boys. But Lewis Koch is a 155er. If you listen to his interviews, he tells you that after this fight against Reyna on the Contender Series, he will be dropping back down to lightweight. So he isn't the biggest of 170ers. He is a very athletic guy, but not the biggest 170er. Victor Reyna definitely couldn't make lightweight, I don't think. Let me see if he's ever fought there. I doubt it, but no, he hasn't. You know, he's fought at middleweight actually, Victor Reyna. So Victor Reyna will have the size advantage here. And also I would say the skill advantage. He's more, well, it's hard to say because Koch only has like 3 fights you can watch, 1 pro level and 2 amateur, but Victor Reyna is decent. Like, he is a southpaw. We've seen in the Miguel Baeza fight, he caused him trouble on the feet. Baeza now in the UFC, so you know he is decent on the feet, and also he's good in the clinch. He does a lot of wall hugging, but you know, he's strong in his clinch game. He gets double underhooks and stuff and works fighters against the cage. But to be honest, I haven't really done much tape for this one because I can't really bet against Lewis Koch, who there's very, very limited tape on. But you know, Victor Reyna does come across to me as probably the more well-rounded fighter. I wouldn't say he's a more powerful striker, but I would say he's a more tactical striker than Koch. And then if he wants to work his grappling game, he can. You know, well, not his grappling game, but his clinch game, especially against the cage on Koch, because he will have a size advantage. So that's an option for him here. But you know, it's hard for me to come out here and say how well I think this fight's gonna go, because obviously Koch only has 3 fights. But I'm just gonna give it to the more experienced fighter in Victor Reyna and the fighter who has fought more higher level competition. So I'll give it to Victor Reyna here. It's currently picking, which I think is interesting, but Reyna opened at a +145 underdog, and to be honest, if I could get on bet on it, if they would let me deposit, as I was saying earlier, I probably would have took him as 145 underdog, because I think he does win this. But you know, who knows, because there's very limited tape on Koch. But I will go with Reyna by, I'm going to say decision here because he is a bit of a decision merchant. But I do have to say one thing, his chin is dodgy. If you watch the Hayward Charge fight, he gets knocked out in 21 seconds with a big left hook. Not sure why it was changed to a no contest, to be honest, but yeah, he gets chinned there in that one. And then in the Baeza fight, he gets dropped pretty badly actually in round 1. But he does come back to win the 3rd round, so you know, he does have decent cardio. And then in the Nick Gay fight, he sort of plays it a wee bit safer and, you know, works his clinch game. That was a combat fight, but yeah, I'm going to go with Victor Reyna by decision here. So that is the card wrapped up. Both silver and gold memberships available. So if you're interested, fire me a DM or cross on Twitter, I can get you in. Yeah, so I'll see you again on Saturday. I'll be back to break down UFC Vegas 7, Edgar versus Munoz. So until then, see you later.